Rusty's Revenge. Rusty is a busy little orange diesel who is always ready to help an engine in trouble. He is liked by everyone, so when help was needed at the wharf, Rusty volunteered right away. It was busy at the wharf. Trucks of slate were waiting to be moved from the narrow gauge trucks to the standard gauge ones. Everything was lying in a state of confusion. In the middle of it all was an engine called James.
I wanted help from a proper engine, he called rudely when he saw Rusty. We need things done quickly around here. And what good is a rusting old diesel gonna do?
Well, I'm not rusting, I'm Rusty. My name comes from my colour, which is orange.
James didn't listen and stormed back to work. Rusty set to work shunting the narrow gauge trucks to the transshipment sidings, ready to be loaded into James's trucks. But James wouldn't stop teasing Rusty.
Don't bump them too hard. You might collapse. Rusting engines soon get scrapped.
Rusty felt fed up with James, and so did the trucks.
He bumps and bones us, they complained. We'll pay him out.
That afternoon, James had to go and collect a large consignment of flour from the windmill. The trucks were reluctant to go with him. They had had enough of being pushed around by him for one day.
We won't go! We won't go!
They protested and held back against him.
Oh, come on, Rusty scolded them. The bakers in the hills need that flour to make bread for the morning. You can't let the villagers down.
The trucks reluctantly agreed to set out with James.
I could have managed,
he said conceitedly. Rusty wasn't convinced and went back to work. On the way back, James was thinking of more things to call Rusty. The trucks were still cross, but they were waiting for the right moment to strike. As James approached the wharf, his driver could see the signal was set at danger, and the points into the yard were against him. James prepared to slow down to stop, but the trucks had other ideas.
On!
They cried and surged forward. James's driver slammed on the brakes, but it was no good. James couldn't stop. He hit the points with a clang and came right off the rails. The trucks bashed into each other and the loads burst open, sending a huge cloud of flour into the yard, covering James and everything around him.
Huh? Ah! Achoo!
He sneezed. Rusty heard the commotion and hurried into the yard.
Oh my goodness,
he exclaimed when he saw the mess. Then he saw James and couldn't help but laugh. Rusty soon sought help and began clearing up the mess. James was lifted back onto the rails and Percy was sent to shunt him to the works for inspection and repairs.
That's my boiler, cried Percy. It's a ghost train.
It's only James, chuckled Rusty. I might be rusty, but he's dusty.
Everyone laughed, except James, who kept very quiet.